How many seasons get rewritten in a single phone call? How many locker rooms feel the temperature drop when one name suddenly becomes available? Picture this. You open your feed and the first thing you see is a conversation the Lakers have tiptoed around for months, finally stepping into the light. You can sense it. Changes in the air, the kind that doesn't wait for the trade deadline, the kind that forces you to pick a side fast. Keep your eyes up, because this isn't smoke for the sake of drama. This is the kind that stings your eyes, because the fire is nearby. Here's the tension you can feel without anyone saying it out loud. The Lakers don't need more highlights. They need solutions. They need the play you trust in May, the defender who erases your worst matchup in a Game 5 on the road, the wing who doesn't blink when the other guy hits 2 threes in your face. And you know exactly where I'm going with this, because Los Angeles has been rehearsing this question since last spring. Do you double down on size and scoring at the forward spot? Or do you flip that comfort for a two-way wing who changes the geometry of the series before the jump ball? Breathe. We're going to walk through this step by step. Tonight, I'm going to break down the profile this roster has been missing. The exact actions that collapse when you don't have it, and the ones that unlock when you do. Why some people inside the building have grown louder about making a bold move. And what it would cost in real terms, money, picks, and yes, a popular player who has had big nights in purple and gold. I'm also going to show you how this move would change your closing five, your late clock menu, and your ability to survive the minutes when your stars sit. No spoilers yet. Stick with me. If you love this team like we do, make sure you're subscribed to Lakers News Fan Report, turn on those notifications, and drop a like so more Lakers fans find this breakdown. This is where we talk like fans but think like a front office. Let's set the stage. The Lakers have retooled around a simple idea. Win the possession game, win the matchup game, win the run prevention game. You saw it in the kinds of players they've added. Guys who can guard up a position, screen with purpose, make the extra pass, and punish empty side help with a quick 0.5 decision. But there's been a hole on the whiteboard everyone keeps circling in red. Against the elite wings in the West, you need someone who can live on an island without calling for a double, fight over 2 screens and still bother the pull-up, switch onto a guard and not concede the rim, then sprint to the corner and contest with discipline. You also need that same player to be comfortable taking the 5th shot of a possession, or the 1st, to cut when the star draws 2, to hit an above-the-break 3 when the ball swings late, and to be strong enough to finish through contact when the paint crowds. Rui Hachimura has been a valuable piece in that conversation. Size, touch from the mid-post, improved range, playoff moments you can point to with receipts. He's earned a lot of trust. But when you flip to the pages labeled Conference Finals Problems, the footprint you want looks a little different. More events on the ball defensively. More screen navigation, more possessions where your wing wins you a stop by himself. That's the gap this front office has been trying to bridge without breaking its future. And that's why we're here, because the whisper that started as a thought experiment on talk radio has made its way into actual frameworks. The Lakers are exploring a swap centered on Rui Hachimura for Andrew Wiggins. Now take a second. Feel the room. You can love Rui and still acknowledge what Wiggins is at his best. A strong, rangy, playoff-proven two-way wing who can take the hardest assignment and live there for 38 minutes. Who doesn't need touches to matter. Who can swing a series by taking away your anxiety about the other team's best scorer. When he's right, your defense has a ceiling you can't reach otherwise. He's not a savior, he's an answer. And this front office has been hunting answers. Here are the bones of the discussion in plain language. From a basketball standpoint, Wiggins fits because he solves 3 problems at once. First, point of attack and wing containment. Your pick-and-roll coverages don't have to bend into soft switches or emergency tags. Second, lineup elasticity, the ability to go small without feeling small, to keep rebounding competence on the floor while playing faster. Third, offensive balance. Wiggins lives comfortably as a low-usage spacer who punishes cross matches with quick straight-line drives and those mid-paint push shots. And he's lethal, cutting behind ball watchers when your stars bend the shell. From a cap standpoint, there's the math. Rui's number sits in the high teens. Wiggins is in the high 20s. That difference means you're not doing this one-for-one without either adding matching salary or roping in a third team to eat or send money. It also means your apron math matters. Hard cap constraints, trade rules on how much money you can bring back, and the timing windows that change depending on where you sit relative to the aprons. In other words, it's doable, but it isn't plug and play. You need creativity, and you need a willing partner who values Rui's age, contract structure, and growth curve. Now, let's talk about the on-court ripple effects, because this is where it gets real. Plug Wiggins into your starting group, and your defensive assignment board gets cleaner. Against the rangy three-level wings that have sent this team into scramble mode the last 2 springs, you put Wiggins on the fire and keep everyone else in their natural lanes. That means fewer pull-2 rotations, fewer corner threes conceded on late scrambles, and less early help that exposes your weak side glass. Your transition defense, which starts with shot selection and floor balance, benefits because Wiggins doesn't need to live in the mid-post. He spaces, he runs, and he picks his spots. Offensively, you're not asking him to be a star. You're asking him to be a threshold. Knock down the open catch-and-shoots, attack tilted closeouts, keep the ball moving. That's it. That's the job. Where does that leave Rui? It's fair and necessary to say this out loud. Rui has been a pro's pro, he's delivered in big spots, and he's loved in this locker room. But team building is ruthless by definition. If you believe your ceiling comes from winning 3 specific matchups in April and May, you target the player who thrives in those exact confrontations. It's not an indictment, it's a calibration. Here's the calendar piece nobody likes, but everybody respects, the league's true leverage windows. Before the deadline, teams test the market, float values, and look for the outlier offer. Close to the deadline, the hurts, the standings, and the owner's appetite compress timelines. That's when good teams get real about the player they actually are, not the one they hope to be. That's when a wing on a multi-year number becomes available at a price you can tolerate. Or he doesn't. The Lakers don't need to force it. But they can't be late to it. Zoom in for a second on usage and ecosystem fit. The Lakers' stars bend the floor into a shape that creates long closeouts and late clock kickouts. Wiggins slots into that geometry naturally. Corner strong. Above the break serviceable, willing to cut baseline when the help leans a step too far, and confident as a late clock 15-footer taker when the possession stalls. He won't steal touches from the guys who should have them, and he'll give you higher leverage touches defensively than Rui can in certain series. That's the honest crux of the argument. Now, the part you've been waiting for, the line between news and noise. The news. Conversations around a framework headlined by Rui Hachimura for Andrew Wiggins have been circulating, with salary mechanics and possible third-team avenues part of the chatter. Teams know the math, they know the needs, and they know the timing. The noise. Nothing is done, and multiple variations would require cooperation from a third team or additional pieces changing hands to satisfy contracts and pick value. In short, it's real enough to discuss, not real enough to schedule a presser. Let's play it forward. If this happens, your closing 5 suddenly make more defensive sense in almost every Western matchup. You can keep your best on-ball guard defender on the ball and let Wiggins erase length on the wing. You can switch across 3 spots without conceding the rim. You can stash your weakest defender on the least threatening shooter instead of hiding 2 guys. Offensively, you get to stay 5 out or 4 out 1 in without compromising spacing. And your late game menu stabilizes. Corner pin down into dribble handoff, angle pick and roll into short roll read. Empty side step up with the tagger frozen because Wiggins' corner gravity is real when he's in rhythm. If it doesn't happen, that tells you something too. It says the price went out of your comfort zone or that Rui's internal value, age, contract curve, cultural fit, won the meeting. It says you keep betting on his shot profile and strength to punish switches, and you try to cover the defensive gaps by scheme more than personnel. That can work in early rounds. It only has to fail once to end your season. There's also the human layer. Rui has fans in this city for a reason. He plays with a calm that settles teams down, he doesn't rush bad shots, and he's learned to leverage his frame to create clean looks when the action stalls. If he moves, another team is getting a pros pro who will help them win. For the Lakers, the hard truth is that winning at the highest level is about the last 8 minutes of a game you can't afford to lose. In those minutes, the wing who turns a star into a mortal matters more than the forward who gets you to your pet spots in the second quarter. That's the lens front offices use, and it isn't sentimental. Let me make the stakes plain. The West doesn't care about your press releases. It cares about your coverages and who can break them. You either add the piece that makes your defense travel, or you ask your stars to be perfect 4 times in 2 weeks. The Lakers are too smart to bet on perfection. They'd rather bet on probability. Wiggins, at his best, is probability, my opinion. I'd do it if the secondary costs stay in the lane of assertive but sane. One real asset and matching money for a two-way wing who raises your defensive floor without asking for oxygen on offense. That's exactly how you buy playoff possessions in a CBA designed to punish mistakes. If the ask balloons into multiple firsts or strips your rotation of the very depth that the move is supposed to protect, you walk and live to hunt a different wing when the next leverage window opens. But if the framework holds close to Rui plus reasonable matching, and your scouts are confident in Wiggins' health and motor, you pull the trigger. Because in May, when the other team's star starts cooking and the series tilts, the most valuable player on the floor is often the one who turns a fire into a manageable flame. And that player, more nights than not, looks a lot like Andrew Wiggins. Tell me what you do in the comments. Ride with Rui and scheme around the gaps, or aim for the two-way threshold and reshape the rotation. Either way, you know we'll be here, breaking every angle down. This is Lakers News Fan Report. Subscribe, keep those alerts on, and stay locked. The phone calls that change seasons don't send calendar invites. They just ring